Hello from gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and it's July at the moment, but some of my houseplants are really looking amazing. So I thought I'd make a summer houseplant update. I hope you like it. So you're very welcome to my kitchen, and this is the room in the house where the majority of houseplants reside, excepting orchids of course. I do have some orchids here, which are the ones you're seeing over there, but mostly I don't have houseplants in other places in the house. And I guess I will start with the individual plants in just a second, just giving you a little bit of a pan as we go through, with my Laelia purpurata looking absolutely amazing at the moment, some more orchids in flower, and the absolute monster of a monster. So this is Monstera deliciosa, looking really good here in the middle of the room. And I also have some begonias looking amazing at the moment. Let's start over there. We're on the windowsill now and looking at this particular begonia, which I repotted in spring. And oh my goodness, it's just looking so absolutely amazing. I'll put the name up here on the screen, but I love how it cascades outside the pot and just hangs down like that. It's really responded well to the repotting. Very pleased with that. And beside it we have a hippeastrum. I think this is the one I called apple blossom before, but people told me it wasn't apple blossom. But anyway, I never got around to bringing these guys out to the greenhouse for summer. And then the next story here is with this begonia. And this is also one that I repotted when I did the big begonia repot and made a video about it. And I will link to that video at the end here. And I'd been lamenting the fact that this particular begonia, which was bought for its really pretty flowers, and it was a present to me from my son Josh, it had never flowered as well since it had been in my care. And since the repot, the great news is that it is now in really good flower. So it's done super well, and I'm really delighted to share with you the fact that if your begonias are not doing the best, then perhaps it's time for a repot, because it can have amazing results. So I'm just giving you a close-up of these fantastic flowers as my son walks down the garden in the background there with the wheelbarrow. And they're very pretty things. They've got kind of a yellow heart and pink petals, and yeah, very pleased with that. But another success story is just over here, and look at this. Look at this plant. Now I'm putting the name up on the screen, but this is a plant that many people struggle with, and I didn't do very well with it in the beginning, but now look how amazingly it's doing. It's making all these really big leaves, no curling, no nothing like that, and the red underside is just amazing. And the trick with this plant is that you have to keep the soil moist. It likes water. It really is a thirsty plant. Keep the soil constantly moist and you'll get results like this. Look at it. It's fantastic. I just love all the different colours there. There's a curled leaf, but it's one that's opening. That's why it's curled. Now with this plant, it tells you when it's not getting enough water, because the leaves start to curl in. And that's a definite sign that you're just not treating it right. So look out for that. But look at that. It's really done amazingly. And a big thank you to Bjorn again, who sent this to me from Germany a while ago. Look. So we've got green and dark green and pale green and cream here on the front of the leaves. And then on the back of the leaves, quite a deep reddy pink. And of course some of the leaves present with their backs towards us, so you get a lovely effect seeing all those colours together. Really lovely plant. Now this is the most abused plant that you're likely to come across in general circulation. I think a lot of people have them in their bathrooms and they think that if they stick it into their bathroom, because of the incumbent humidity in there, it's just going to do well. But it won't, and we've all seen them, completely abused, shriveled things. You do actually need to water it a lot as well to get good results. And there you go. And since I started giving a lot of water, I have this enormous, enormous leaf here. Isn't it great? I'm really pleased with this. Fantastic plant. Okay, I'm going to get on with this video because I'm losing the light fast here. But the next thing to talk about is my Monstera deliciosa. And this is a plant that I repotted a couple of years back. And it caused a great stir because this is a plant that was my mother's originally and it had been in the same pot for 30 something years. But it's done really well since it was repotted. And more importantly, since it's been put in this position in the house. So it gets good light now. Now this is a plant that doesn't want direct light, but it does need good light. And it's really doing well here. There are a number of windows around it, that one there on the left, the one on the right, and of course the patio doors are just over here. So it kind of reaches towards the light. So every now and again I just need to push the pot just a little bit so that the leaves move a bit away from the light, and that'll encourage them to again grow in that direction. But yeah, Monstera, that's my monster, and she's doing brilliantly. Down here beside the monster we have another begonia, and this is one that benefited from the repotting in spring, and it's not doing brilliantly. Yeah, it's kind of okay. So we need to remove some dead leaves here. We'll see how that goes. And then this little thing, which I bought in spring this year, and it seems to be doing well in this position. It doesn't have a lot of light, but it seems to have sufficient light because I imagine it's the kind of thing that's going to lose its lattice work of variegation if it goes too dark. So it's, yeah, average watering needs, not really a difficult one. And over here we have some hippeastrums. This is the species one that flowered a little while ago, the orange flower, the one that I received in spring. We have this little plant here, which is actually doing really well. It's got very big leaves at the moment, although very small plant. And yeah, it's doing fine. And here we have my Hippeastrum papilio, which decided not to flower for me this year. So that was a bit of a disappointment. I should probably bring it out to the greenhouse now and make sure it gets good light. So yeah, that's on my list of things to do. And beside it we have this cutie. I can't remember the name for this plant off the top of my head, but it's going up on the screen. And what I have it in is, let me see, so there's the plant itself, but it sits in a little pot here, which sits in a green pot which has no holes, so that catches the water, and then all of that sits in this ornamental pot. And this beautiful ornamental clay pot was brought to me by my friend from Latvia, and I believe it's a kind of traditional style, beautiful thing. And I was really pleased to find a plant small enough to put in it and just to use it to full advantage because, well, you know, I love plants and so it goes. Okay, in the corner we have this ficus, which isn't doing a whole lot. Average watering needs again. It's got decent light here, but it's got a growing point there, which is budding up nicely. But I think actually I have some scale on it, which we can see here. Oh, the nasty yolks. So I need to give that a bit of a treatment. And beside it, yes, all right. So here's another begonia, and look at this. Isn't this fantastic? This is Begonia Curly Fire Flush. And look at the leaves on this. It's doing really, really well. Look how they open, red and velvety and gorgeous. And then as they mature a little bit, they get some green in them and some, I don't know, black. And then they mature into leaves like this. And mine is doing so well since I gave it good light. Although I have since then moved it over here because I just couldn't bear to have it on the windowsill. It kept facing away from me, so outside was getting the benefit of all these wonderful leaves. So by putting it over here, I can show it off to better effect, really. Isn't it super? And it's flowered as well. See the little white flower in there? Oh. It's currently in flower, actually. Look at the hairiness down there below the flowers. Really, really attractive thing. Gorgeous. And behind it we have another plant which needs to be kept moist. And this is a calathea, and it has amazing leaves. And I found a garden centre near to me that has a decent variety of calatheas for sale, but I didn't want to invest in them before I went on holiday because I didn't think that my plants would get enough water when I was away, and perhaps I'd lose them, but this one has done really well. And this is one you have to make sure it stays moist, just like the other one over the other side. Gorgeous, gorgeous leaves. And this one moves. It's absolutely strange. But in the evening, and I'm not shitting you here, in the evening what happens is it kind of stands to attention and all the leaves just kind of stand upright. It's the strangest thing. Really, really strange. And in the corner here we have one of these plants that everybody has. I'm putting the name up on the screen, and this one was bought for my daughter when she moved out originally, and she she didn't kill it, so that's good news. And this one here, also a tree, or it should be a tree eventually, was one that she had, and basically these two have suffered abuse for many years and they are still alive. So I think both are plants that are highly recommended for people who want an easy houseplant. Now behind it we have Begonia escargot, looking amazing at the moment. I think I didn't repot this one. I think this one could do with a repot because it could look better. But the leaves are super, aren't they? The way they swirl around like that, giving it its name of escargot, which of course means snail. And they look like the back of a snail's shell, I guess. And below it we have Begonia seismorii, which was repotted and is looking absolutely amazing. Let me stand back. Look at that beast. And it really is a beast. And I absolutely love the new leaves as they come up. Look at that. Look at all the hairs on that. And the red underside. Look down there. That one there. So completely beautiful and hairy. And this is an easy enough house begonia to mind. Just be careful not to overwater them, I find, although a lot of the information you get says they need to be kept, they need a lot of humidity, but I have found that airing in the opposite direction seems to have best results for me. And look at these funny markings on the leaves where it's actually paler in spots. Well, this is actually a form of variegation. Very attractive plant. And of course the undersides of the leaves are red. Could it be any other way? I do like my fancy begonias. And just, I guess, those three there, the curly firefrush, the seismorii and the escargot, are really looking well. However, the first one I showed you is going to be a contender soon for pride of place in terms of, best begonia. The begonia corner we were just looking at is over here, and we have in front of it this table which has orchids in flower. Now this isn't an orchid video, but I want to show you just very briefly a few I have in flower here. No ID white fowl, which seems to not want to go out of flower ever, looking so well. We have Paphiopedilum deep pearl pink. We have one slipper left, the other one has finished flowering. And at the front here we have this gorgeous little Phalaenopsis, a cross between two species, and I really love the flowers on this. Now it's lost one of its flowers on the spike, but these are lasting a good long time, and that's exactly what you want, isn't it? Behind, an Oncidium type with these fantastic red flowers, beautifully scented. Still looking good. Now this one had so many spikes, and this is the final one. The rest have gone over now. So this will need a repot when that spike finally finishes. You can see these two spikes here have finished, and you can also see by looking into the pot that it's making new growths. So it's a good time to repot it. And it's flanked here by, I think this one's called Renaissance, also an Oncidium type with an amazing scent. This is just going over now. I've got a final 3 flowers left, and they won't be with me for long. But the plant itself, which desperately needs a repot, is producing this strong growth. So I may actually repot that tomorrow. And this tour of the kitchen plants could not be complete without a quick look at least at Laelia purpurata, which is a fantastic giant orchid that I grow and have grown quite successfully, and is giving me 9 flowers this year. Big flowers with a heady scent. Fantastic things. Now I did make a separate video about this plant, and I'll link to this at the end. I guess I'll link to my begonia repotting video as well, and I don't know, whatever else comes up here. Just over there you can see the Psychopsis in flower, and here we have my 2 Psychopsis, looking really quite good at the moment. Very tall, so that's why they've been kind of put up here. The other one there is upside down. The flower is upside down, can you believe it? But Psychopsis is a wonderful Oncidium type orchid that produces these really giant flowers, and it produces them on a spike that lasts for years and years. So the same spike keeps producing a new flower every now and again. Absolutely wonderful thing, and I think actually probably every collection should have one. If you can grow oncidiums at all, then try this one. And here I am back again looking at my Laelia, because this is really stealing the show at the moment in the kitchen. Fantastic big scented flowers, looking absolutely magnificent. Even the backs of the flowers are noteworthy. Have a look in here. Aren't they really super? And I've just got 2 more plants to show you, both begonias, and one of them is suspended here in the background and is bobbing around. And this is a no ID begonia, which is really pretty and looks gorgeous when the light catches it here. Now I really should pot it on, it's in a very small pot, but then I wouldn't be able to suspend it here on this hanger, and I really like having it here, so I think I'll probably leave it for a bit longer and just enjoy it in situ. And then finally, this plant here is one that I want to show you, and this is Begonia luxurians, and you will be surprised perhaps to learn that this is a begonia, because the leaves certainly don't look like a begonia. They look more like a scheffler or some other kind of plant. But if you take a look at the canes, then you can see that it is a begonia, because these kind of knobbly joints are very typical of begonias. Now, this is a thirsty brute, and a brute it is too. I'll just stand back to give you an idea. Having taken a step back here, you can see the Begonia luxurians as that tall plant there on the left, and just look how tall it is. I absolutely love it, and it's one that I have 2 of. There's one that it lives in the greenhouse and is planted in the garden during the year, and then this one is my house plant. Very thirsty plant. I talked about how begonias really, I keep them on the dry side, but this one is an exception now. This needs lots and lots of water. And if you don't, then you get these brownish tips to the leaves. It suffered a bit when I was away, and there's nothing for it but to cut off the brownish tips. But if you water it well, then it'll produce lots and lots of leaves and look absolutely amazing. And I'm quite pleased with how this one is doing. I'm going to repot it soon, because I have a gorgeous new clay pot, fancy clay pot, that I think it's going to look great in, so that's something on the list of things to do for me. And that about brings me to the end of this video. A look at the house plants in my kitchen, and just a really talk through about the ones that are looking really good at the moment. I hope you are pleased to see that the begonias have done well from the repotting, and that you can join in my enjoyment of the ones that have done really well. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll check back for lots more videos on houseplants. You may even find some on orchids in here and greenhouse, and outdoor plants too in the garden. I have a mini series running at the moment on my month of perennials, so there are a lot of perennials that we'll be hearing about too. Thank you very much for watching, and well, check back soon. Bye.